All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Shift Work Athlete podcast. My name is Spencer Barlow, the Shift Work Athlete.
Hey. Sorry,
Jason.
man.
Jason.
You're not the host today. This one's all about you, buddy.
Oh,
I'm doing the intro.
I'm the guest?
You're the guest. I'm the host.
Welcome to the Shift Work Athlete podcast. We connect with shift workers conquering life challenges and chasing big fitness goals. The goal of this podcast is to inspire and motivate our shift work community to stay fit and stay healthy with such a unique lifestyle.
Hey, everyone. I'm doing the intro. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Shift Work Athlete podcast, a weekly podcast put out by Spencer Barlow that features everyone from athletes, triathletes, CrossFit athletes, to just your everyday kind of athlete, but who also work in shift work and have to deal with those life complications that it may bring. So, a little bit about me before we spend the whole time focusing on Spencer. My name is Jason Matos. I am happy to be working along with the Shift Work Athlete. I'm a videographer, photographer for many years, but in terms of working with Spencer, I wear a few hats. We're starting to create these vlogs, which you may be seeing coming out on Sundays. I've been attending races with both Spencer and Aaron and just trying to be a bit of a support system along with documenting the whole trip. And I am becoming a podcast producer. So I will be behind the scenes. If you are lucky enough to be a guest on his podcast, I'll be Googling stuff for you, taking show notes, and just making sure everything goes smooth. So just a touch about me, I've been in the media industry for 15 years. I've been blessed to travel the world, doing everything from Netflix documentaries to over 150 music videos in a year to recently in the last few years becoming a father and just working locally in Hamilton at a media agency, mainly creating content for social media. But that is enough about me. Let's get into a little bit about Spencer Barlow, your normal host.
Ooh,
so
baby.
Spencer, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. I am grateful to surprisingly be the guest and to be here. So
you're on the flip side, my man.
It's on. Yeah. Geez. Okay. All right. I've been here before. Let's do this. Let's
do it. So let's get right into it. You are a shift worker and you are very involved in the fitness world. From an athletic standpoint, can you just introduce yourself? Take us down kind of the journey of your fitness route, where you started and kind of how we ended up where we are today.
Yeah, absolutely. So fitness started for me in grade 10. At the time I was going through, growth, becoming an adult. So there's some things I had to take charge of, which was my life. Fitness is one of those things that helped me be able to live my life very confidently and also decrease my depression and other things I was experiencing at the time. So I was actually on Ritalin, and this is not a rabbit hole we're going to go down, but that was one of the things I was dealing with at the time in grade 9 or 10. I got off of it, and I needed another way to figure out how to basically control or release my energy, and fitness was one of those things that opened that door for me. And as soon as I came to realize the benefits of working out, the nutrition aspect came to it. Like I said, the confidence. I used to be a shy kid, so it really opened up a lot of doors for me, and I saw the benefit of working out, not to just look good, but feel good. And so, there's people that work out to be in competitions, physique-wise. There's people that work out to use it for athletics, and athletics was one of the routes that I found the most love in, which has led me to doing obstacle course racing, triathlons, CrossFit. I joined the military when I was 18. Like there's just so much fitness has opened up for me, and still to this day is the number one contributor to the person I am at this moment. And I plan on having it for the rest of my life. Even if I were to break a bone or two, I will figure it out how to stay fit. Just keep going. Yeah. So I am now currently a shift worker. I am a crane operator for a steelmaking factory here in Hamilton, Ontario. The job has also opened up many doors for me financially, and also the ability to work half the year, which is fantastic. I only work 14 days a month. But it does come with its ups and downs, right? Working shifts is not for everybody. It's a very unhealthy way of treating your body, going from a day shift to a night shift. It messes up with your circadian rhythm, and it's got so many other negative effects that can play a toll in your body physically and mentally. So that's why today I am now the guest, because I'm going to be sharing with you guys a bit about my experience training for a half Ironman, which is a 70.3 mile race. So you have a swim, bike, and run, 2K swim, a 90K bike, and a half marathon run, which is 21.2 kilometers, I think. And all my other adventures that are up and coming. So that's a bit about my fitness and what I do for a job.
That's great. I mean, you answered my next question, so I'll just go ahead and scratch that off. You know, so for the listeners out there and maybe the viewers on YouTube, let me just give a bit of background about my fitness journey and my job. So I'm not a shift worker, but by nature, I'm a very curious person. So, you know, I have a lot of questions that aren't on the normal sheet that Spencer may ask his guests. But also my fitness journey, you know, it's been on and off. I grew up playing very competitive soccer, you know, to the level that kind of scouts were coming from overseas and stuff. Had something happen with my soccer career and just kind of stopped fitness. But shortly after that, I found photography. And over the past few years of being a father and being married, it's been up and down, you know. So for me to hear and watch Spencer and Aaron running these, to me, what's just crazy races, half Ironmans, even triathlons, like it blows my mind. So I'm coming from a place where I'm not experienced with it, but I have a lot of respect for it. And again, I'm very curious. So I love all this. But look, I want to go back to your fitness for a second. I'm just curious. What was your introduction to fitness? You said you found it in high school. I mean, I imagine like we're guys, like we're pretty active as teenagers, but was there someone who like really introduced it into your life, or was kind of that catalyst for you taking it on as much as you have?
Okay, so at our school, the gym was literally attached to the basketball court area, right? Or gym. Yeah. So the weight room, was attached to the gym where we all hung out. And, you know, I'd always see the football guys go in there, and I was always kind of like curious. But I had a fitness, what are they called? Not a coach, but gym teacher. Jeez, I can't spell the word. So yeah, my gym teacher at the time, Mr. Romano, bless his heart, this guy was hardcore. He loved working out. He had such a passion for coaching as well. He was our basketball coach, but this guy, he was a beast, man, and he was ripped head to toe. He was super inspiring, and I just loved the confidence that he had. I loved how he really loved himself, right? Like, you know, some people say, like, you know, when you love yourself, you're cocky, but like, you know what? I don't think enough people love themselves, right? And I think like when it comes down to fitness, like that's number one thing. You're trying to make yourself healthy. You're trying to make yourself feel good, and if you're confident, that shit. That radiates to other people. And I just think I was one of those kids that, you know what, I saw this person, this man that I also would like to represent myself as, you know, one day in my life, I would like to be on the same page as him, right? I didn't have a lot of fitness role models. My stepdad at the time, you know, he big into drinking, and he just wasn't really around a lot. So it was just kind of like, okay, like who else can I look up to, right? So I was always looking for mentors, right? So I started working out. I started to really enjoy the camaraderie that came with other people in the gym. I just felt accepted. Yeah, I was skinny, I was lanky, but I was there lifting weights, and I also wasn't there, you know, just doing the same exercises. I was exploring, I was watching other people work out, and I was just slowly educating. I like to really take in my surroundings, and so fitness is one of those things that I really enjoyed. I actually was never good at team sports. If you gave me a play to like look at and go and do out in the field, I would forget it. It's just my short-term memory, dealing with ADHD, learning disability, and all these other things. It took me a while for things to download or process. So, the gym was one of those things. It was like, okay, here's a workout, here's a movement. I'm great at moving. I have, great flexibility, etc. So I really excelled in that area. And like I said, over the years, I was just able to build on it to the point where I was a personal trainer. I was coaching other people, really fell in love with boot camps and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things that, like I said, it changed my life for the better and in a very healthy way. So, that's
a great segue. So we actually met for the first time when you were my coach at F45 in Hamilton. Mm-hmm. And so, why didn't you why wasn't fitness a route that you took as a career? Why do you choose to go with shift work? What was the kind of deciding factor there? Because you're an incredible coach. I've said that to you many times. I'm not just saying it here because I'm on a podcast with you. So what was that factor where you said, you know what, I'm going to go with this difficult job over a passion?
So I felt like I had passion fatigue. I was getting burnt out. My finances weren't meeting my personal lifestyle that I wanted to live, and taking this route as a shift worker started to fulfill that need. I wouldn't be doing triathlons and stuff like that right now if I didn't have the job that I'm currently working in, because it is not a cheap sport to be invested into. Right. And, going to races and finding the time and, taking time off from work and knowing that I'm still making money if I'm on vacation and stuff like that, gives you a sense of security and stuff. And so working shifts allows me to fulfill that need of just going to do these races and buy the gear that I need and whatever. Right. So, I still miss being a coach and being a trainer. And it's something that, is kind of itching me in the back of the head that I might potentially, scratch that itch and see where it goes now that I have this security, but do it on my own terms where I'm not actually working for somebody, but working for myself. So that may potentially be something down the line that I might get back into again. Cause I do miss educating. I miss coaching. I don't like being a boot camp instructor where I'm yelling at you. I love teaching you. So, when I could get that opportunity again to start to teach and educate, I think I'm going to be able to come at it from a much healthier point of view instead of being like, you're my client, you need to pay me money.
Where it's not just a business.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So like I could survive. Like now it's like I don't need to worry about the money. I could focus on the passion part of it and let it thrive by just the sense of like I'm here for you now, not worrying about, am I going to have enough money to pay my rent or anything like that, right? Because those are that stress is already covered. So, we'll see.
So that's interesting. There's a bit of passion fatigue, as you put it, and a bit of like life just dictating which way you're going to go. Like you needed the money. And so what was it like shifting from, because look, if anyone out there has ever been to an F45 or an F45 type class, one of the things you leave that class saying after the first time is, what an incredible environment. Everyone's so supportive. Everyone's so encouraging. That's right. I feel like I can fail and not be judged. Right? So what was it like going from that to working in a factory, which might have a bit of a stigma about it sometimes, right? What was that like for you those first few weeks, those first few months?
So I actually started at F45 when I was at Dofasco or at the steelmaking company.
That must have helped then.
Yeah, like you know what? Like starting at the steelmaking factory, like going into it, I made sure I was prepared beforehand. Like, this is what I'm going to eat. This is how I'm going to sleep. This is what, I'm going to do to stay active. And, being at the gym actually really helped with that because, I would work my 2-3 days of shifts for example, a day shift, right? And, you know, my day starts at work at 6:30 or 6 a.m. And so the next day that I'm off, my day that I'm working at the gym, you know, I have to be at the gym at 6 a.m. So it just allowed me to stay on routine, and then also stay on top of like stretching and my fitness and stuff like that, because I work a sedentary job. So I'm a crane operator and I'm sitting there for long durations of time, right? Yeah, you do get up here and there or whatever, but there's sometimes that you can't. You're you know, focused on a task and you have to do that task until complete, and you know, somebody's waiting for you to get that task done. So like I said, working at the gym, it really helped with that. But yeah, when I stepped away from the gym, there's multiple reasons, right? So, you know, COVID was coming, you know, so that put a little bit of fear in me. I was also very invested in my triathlon training, so that was becoming more of where my energy was being generated towards, or being pulled towards, because I was like, oh, like, you know, I got to work 4 or 5 hours at the gym. I don't know why I'm messing with my hat. You know, let's just eliminate it. I'm like, oh, I got to work 4 or 5 hours at the gym, but I was like, oh, I also got to do a 2-3 hour bike workout or run or something like that, right? So for me, selfishly, I was like, I want to focus more on my fitness. It's something I'm really enjoying right now. I don't really need the money from the gym or anything like that. And, you know, there's just changes going on in general. And so, yeah, you know, I took a step back, and like I said, like for me, the biggest thing was that, you know, the COVID was coming, and I did not want to get sick and then potentially bring that sickness to work and then affect my employees, because I would feel absolutely horrible if something like that were to happen. So I had to make a logical choice. What is going to make more sense, right? Like at my job, there isn't a lot of socializing. We aren't always all together. Like it's a very independent job. I'm in a crane by myself. There's nobody else there, right? So for me to go from my home to my job to the grocery store, like those are my 3 main stops. And then when I would exercise, majority of the time was in the house, or, you know, I was out on a trail somewhere where there wasn't a lot of people, right? So it was just trying to be smart. And then the last thing, I was dealing with an injury at the time too. And so that was just another reason why I had to step away from the gym, because when you're coaching, you're jumping around, you're getting involved. And I just felt like, okay, like I have this injury, it's starting to get worse. I need it to go away. You know, I just had to make some decisions that were going to allow me to move forward. And like I said, it was just one of those things that it just kind of like made sense the most. So.
Now that makes sense. I mean, something you didn't mention, but I imagine is another legitimate reason you had to step away from the coaching was you're making more money at your shift work job, right? So, I mean, you don't want to get sick and be out for anywhere from, at the time, minimum 2 weeks to possibly a month, right? With COVID, like that'd be a serious dent. All right. So for all the shift work nerds out there, let's talk numbers. Okay. Tell us how your shift work, how your hours are broken up. What does a week, 2 weeks in the life of your shift work look like?
I think it's a total of 84 hours I'm working every 2 weeks. So they're 12-hour shifts. It's anywhere between 2 to 3 shifts blocks. And then, so for example, tomorrow I'm going on a day shift for 2 days. So Wednesday, Thursday, and then I'm going to be off the entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, back in Monday night for 2 shifts. And then the following Friday, I'm back in for 3 shifts. So it alternates.
Wow.
Two shifts during the week. And then I'll either have a weekend off or I'm actually working weekends. So to put in a better perspective, I get 2 weekends off per month. And then I'm working 2 weekends. Yeah.
And at the time of recording this, you basically just came off a weekend of night shifts, right?
Correct. Yeah. So as of yesterday, Monday morning, I finished my shift, slept throughout the day, and today is my next day off. So technically 48 hours, I think it is, and then we go back in, and then that's when I get my long weekend. Yeah. All
right. Everyone has complaints with their job. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, and everyone loves parts of their job. So hit me with the main benefit of being on shift work, and hit me with the main negative of being on shift work.
All right. So benefit, like I said, I get tons of time off. I only work 14 days a month, which is pretty awesome.
That's awesome. I'm jealous.
Like I said, pros and cons. So yeah, working only half of the month means I'm only working half of the year. So I get tons of time off, and it gives me time to go do my training. It gives me time to go out in public when, the malls aren't busy or grocery stores aren't busy. And, if I need to go to Service Canada, for example, you know what I mean? There's no lineups because everybody's at work. So, it's got its pros and cons there. The negatives, taking on sleep deprivation, messing up my circadian rhythm, my health, productivity, energy to want to even work out. Like there's just, I think the cons outweigh the pros, but like I said, I make good money off half of the year. I get vacation, I get a pension. So yeah, like the negatives suck, but I mean, it's one of those things. It's like, you can't just like up and leave, unfortunately, because you invest time into a skill. The skill pays you what you need to survive. Now it's like, okay, do I just quit and go and find something? Will it pay me the same? Will I have these benefits, et cetera? Right. So like, that's, the juggle. Right. And, it's just a way of life. And I'm sure there's a lot of people in my position that, have a job that sucks, but it pays them pretty darn good. And you just have to correction. My job doesn't suck. I do enjoy what I do.
Yes.
The night shift sucks. So let me clarify that so nobody gets the wrong impression.
Yeah.
Just doing the flip-flops, I don't enjoy that, but I enjoy my job. I love who I work. I love the employees that I work with. They're young guys and stuff like that. And, it's fun going to work. There's not a day that I'm like, oh, I have to work today. I'm being dead serious. It's more so like, oh, I don't want to mess up my sleep. And that's my only complaint. But
do you think you would care as much about your sleep if you weren't training or so concerned with triathlons? Like if you were just into fitness and staying healthy, do you think it would weigh as much on you? Or is it because you've taken on this extra responsibility in your life of committing to be a triathlete?
I think sleep is what gives us life. And if we don't sleep, man, like you're just killing yourself sooner. And I think any smart person should be aware of how important their sleep is, and it shouldn't be something that is sacrificed. Yes, I'm more aware of it and more in tune with the investment I need to put into sleep because I do train. Because if I don't sleep properly, I'm not going to recover. There's, I'm going to put more fatigue on myself. My mood is going to be horrendous. Like nobody's going to want to be around me if I'm grumpy and rude and stuff like that. And then, eating as well. If I'm not sleeping properly, I'm not going to be eating properly as well. Right. So it's just like making the proper choices when it comes down to my food selection. If you're not sleeping, right, you're going to just make poor choices because you're lazy. You don't want to cook anything. You're going to order stuff. And, the selection is just going to be so narrow that it's like, what is the most convenient and what's going to make me feel full. And sometimes even when you're eating bad food, you don't get the same feeling of being satisfied by what you eat. So you're just going to keep going down the road of having poor choices, right? Or eating poor choices. So it's so important.
Let's talk about coming off night shift for a little bit. So for context, everyone out there, I have a 2-year-old who's almost 3 in October. And I was blessed in the early years of maybe waking up 8 times throughout the night in her first 2.5 years. We had like this angel child who we put her to bed and she slept. So we almost skipped this whole sleep deprivation, the horror stories that you experience as a new parent, right? But she hit 2.5 and that changed, now she's getting up. And this past weekend, for the first time in her life, she got a cold and she was pretty sick. And I went into Monday and you texted me the other day saying, oh man, I am a zombie today. Yeah. And I hit you back with, I'm right there with you. Right. Yeah. Because it's so hard to describe that feel. It's almost like being on a bad drug when you're that sleep deprived. Right. Like you're sitting there going like, what am I feel like? Am I sick? Yeah. Or am I just tired? Yeah. Right. So look, you have vlogs out about this and people can go to our YouTube channel and check this out, but talk to me a little bit now about how do you cope with that? what are some things what are routines, habits in your life that you have to ease that, not only for yourself, but for Aaron, your partner? Like, it's tough to be around people like us who have ADHD when our, gas tanks are empty, right? Mm-hmm. So how do you deal with that? Give me advice.
Yeah, the biggest thing is communication, hands down. It's like, right. When Aaron and I started dating and she was around more with my shifts, like she saw what I was going through, and for her it's hard to understand my moods, like they shift, right? And yeah. I had to say to her, I was like, listen, the days that I come off of my night shift, I'm not going to be myself. I'm going to be cranky. I might be irritable, impatient. I may be quiet. I don't know what mood I'm going to be in, but I'm just giving you a warning that, you know what, I'm not going to be myself. But if you give me a day, I will be back on track, feeling myself. And when I'm coming off a night shift, I have to really be mindful of how I'm eating that day. I have to be mindful of the tasks that I'm going to be doing. Like, usually I don't work out coming off of a night shift, and sometimes I do. Right. It all depends on how I feel psychologically, but I do get that mental fog. I get that lack of drive, and I just kind of hide, I guess you can say. I'll just chill on the couch. I'll watch some TV. I'll make sure to stay hydrated. And because for me, I'm just thinking about, can I sleep tonight? Can I actually go to bed at a regular time and get a quality night of sleep so the next day I feel my best, right?
Yeah.
And so, like there was a lot of trial and error. Like I said, I would try to work out. I would have to decrease the intensity of the workout and just know it's like an active recovery session, whether it's just a light bike or it could be simple as a hike that I would just go and do, right? So I had to really dial down. Yeah, just moving, just getting the blood flowing. So I had to really dial down the energy. Supplementation as well. Like I'll take a melatonin. I didn't last night. I've been taking more so magnesium, but sometimes I'll have like 2 grams of milligrams of melatonin before I go to bed.
48 hours.
Right. Yeah. Trial and error. I would making sure my vitamin D is up, my fish oil, having my shakes and stuff like that, because your body's going through inflammation. So any sort of foods, make sure I'm decreasing that. But you know what I mean? Like it's just becoming more aware of like what your body's going through at that time, and just making sure that you're trying to be prepared to go to sleep that night of. Just so I could get back into a good sleep cycle again, going back to work at 6 a.m. 2 days after.
So talk to me a bit about, you mentioned a few times now nutrition. So I've seen on the athlete side of you what you eat and what you meal prep for a race, coming out in our vlog this Sunday.
That's right.
Does your nutrition, your meal plan, does it change when you are doing shift work, or are you able to find this balance between what you're eating as an athlete and what you eat as a shift worker?
Yeah, definitely balance. I'll say that my food choices at work are like as healthy as possible, because I am sitting. I am not burning any of the energy when I'm at work. Right.
That's a good point. Right.
Yeah. So when I'm at work, everything has to be like the occasional time I'll have some tortilla chips or whatever, and what we have freezies at work, I'll have a freezie and stuff like that. But everything else that I pack is the healthiest option I could possibly think of, right? So I always will bring a shake. I always bring a salad. I'll bring a dinner. So Erin will usually have dinner already made and prepped and in the fridge. So she's been a huge help towards my success with staying healthy at work. And then I'll bring like a protein bar. So Erin and I like those Daryl bars and stuff. And, lots of veggies and stuff like that. And even what the sauce that I put in my salad is olive oil, balsamic vinegar and apple cider vinegar with lots of seasonings, right? So, you know, my Italian seasonings and stuff like that. And then when it comes down to my shake, like that is just like $100,000 shake. I'm telling you, like I put so much in there to make sure it's, you know, there's cinnamon, turmeric, ginger, chia seeds, protein. Like it's just a superfood extravaganza in my lunch pail. And because I need to fuel myself because I am burning so much calories outside of work, right? So when I'm at work, it's my time to recover and chill and relax and let the body replenish so I can put forth 110% when I get that energy to go and do my workouts and stuff like that. So yeah, nutrition is so important when I'm at work. And then when I'm off from work, I'm a little bit more relaxed. I'll have pizza, you know, we'll treat ourselves to ice cream and stuff, but it's not an all the time thing, right? You have to reward yourself. And if you do have a cravings, like my cravings are going to be everywhere, but you know what? I will not shy away by having a treat here and there because, like, you know, you have one life. Those things aren't controlling my life, but I do like to live life. I like to enjoy having those little treats and stuff like that. But yeah, like, you know, it's coming down to having a balance, right? And I could be super, super disciplined, but is that good for me? Not necessarily, because that's more stress. So I want to make sure that I'm having fun with the training, I'm having fun with the food that I'm eating, and I'm making sure that, you know, my healthy food is always going to outweigh the bad food. So my bad food is probably about 10%, right? Everything else is 9%.
Yeah. No, that's great. Can we just go back to those protein bars for a second? Is that the one you gave me at the race the other weekend? Is it Daryl?
Daryl bar. Daryl, I think, or something.
All right.
I don't know.
So just 1 second, Spencer.
Yeah.
Daryl bar. We know you're listening to this podcast. We love your bars. Feel free to sponsor us.
Right.
Anyways.
Right. Plug.
That was the best protein bar I've ever had.
Yeah, and all their flavors are phenomenal. Like, there's not one that I'm like, I'm just kind of like, you know what, today I feel like this. It's like going to the ice cream bar, and you're just like, what flavor do I want to try today? You know,
like I think you gave me a peanut butter one, and that is like Reese's, whatever. Reese's is like all my weight is because of Reese's.
Right.
That was, I'm telling you guys, if you haven't had it, that is the least tasting protein bar on the market.
Yeah, you don't even think of the protein.
Amazing.
It's a snack.
No. It doesn't have that weird aftertaste that most.
It's so hard to have just one.
Have two. All right, let's talk about your what you're doing these days. You're doing so much on the fitness side of things, and mainly fitness is such a broad spectrum of a category. You're doing so much on the racing and triathlete side of things. I went to your first one with you.
Yeah,
2 years ago, pre-COVID, and at that time, you, let's just be honest, were not a great swimmer. And to see the progression that you've made, especially in that one area, is so cool just as a friend to see. So give us a summary, give the viewers and listeners a summary of really where you're putting your focus when it comes to fitness.
Okay, so starting with triathlon, there's growing pains, right? With anything that you take up as a new hobby, right? So for me, that was swimming. And Aaron taught me how to swim. We went to Gulliver's Lake here in Hamilton, or just in Ontario. If you're in this area, you'll know what I'm talking about. Anyways, we went there. I had a wetsuit. I'm all ready to go. I'm like, I've seen people swim. I think I could swim. And she pointed to a destination in the lake there, and we're like, we'll swim there. Meet you there. Great. Get in the water and we start going, and she gets to the location. I did maybe 20 meters and I turned around and went back to the dock. That was close by, and she was at the dock maybe 200 meters away, and she's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I can't swim. So that was the beginning of my journey learning how to swim. A lot of ups and downs. I couldn't breathe. My arms would get extremely exhausted, and like, I'm a fit guy, so it means I also sank like a rock, right? So there was just many things that I had to conquer and battle with. But it was one of those things that I keep telling myself is that, you know what, it's something new. You have to be patient and just keep coming back. Every time you come back, you're going to learn a little bit more and more and more. And that's something that I had to teach myself as I matured. You know, like I said, I had ADHD and a learning disability. For me to focus on something that I didn't give two shits about, I wasn't going to learn. But I gave two shits about swimming and triathlon. Yeah, it was something that was on my bucket list. And so, you know, I did everything I could to continue to learn how to swim. We went to McMaster, did a couple of their master swims there. We had a triathlon coach that was local, did some swimming there, which was extremely helpful. And then just personal perseverance to continue to show up. And luckily at F45, we built a relationship with one of our members, Joanne, who has a lap pool at her house, and was so gracious does that make sense? Generous to
it's generous of her, and you are gracious to her.
Thank you. Yes. To allow Erin and I to use her pool, and her daughter Taylor was also a member, and she helped me also with training. And so it's just like I had so many people that believed in me because I kept showing up. And so man, those struggles turned out for me to be able to go and do a half Ironman. That was a 20K swim. And I did the whole swim perfectly.
Yeah.
And faster than I ever thought. I actually started it in the very front corral. And you know, like I would never have been able to get to that spot if I didn't keep showing up. But yeah, I did it while I was doing shift work. Yes, I'm an adult. I'm 31 years old. And you know, it's one of those things is that, you know, you can learn anything at any age. It's about how you use your mind, right? So for those of you that may be watching YouTube, I'm pointing to my head right now, your brain, right? Yeah. Use it and think, right? Think above what you're capable of. At the time, yes, I did not know how to swim, but I didn't tell myself I didn't know how to swim. I told myself I was going to learn how to swim, right? And so I take that same perspective with anything that I do in life. So fitness, same thing. If there's something I'm curious about, I'm going to learn how to do it. And now I'm at the point where with triathlon, I love it so much that Erin and I have spoke about our next goal with it, and we want to try to make worlds, right? Yeah. So it may not happen next year, but it may happen eventually. But I want to start manifesting what that looks like for me. Does it mean I need to start to focus on having a better swim time, a better run time, a better bike time? Okay, how am I going to get there? Get a coach. Do, you know, more running. Who knows what it may be, but I'm manifesting what that's going to look like, right? And it's totally achievable. And so with my fitness journey, it's like I said, I always find a race or something that scares the hell out of me, and I just kind of go headfirst in, and I learn along the way. You know what I mean? My first triathlon, I did the whole darn thing on my back. I forgot about that. I did it on my back, and it wasn't even like a proper sexy back stroke or whatever. It was like this fish thing, right? But I did it.
That's crazy.
I was afraid. Wasn't sure if I was going to be able to complete it, but you have to struggle. You have to go through the pain, and that's what
Why do you swim that way? What was what happened? Why? I would imagine on your back is so much harder.
I felt that was the most efficient way. It allowed me to stay afloat. It was allowing me to get air.
Right.
And
you started forwards, right? You started in your
but the water was so cold, Jason. The water was so freaking cold. I couldn't even get a breath out. It shocked me every time
with the suit.
Yeah. Well, you don't have a suit on your face, right? So every time my face went into the water, I was like,
oh, you're just
breathless, right?
Oh, that's interesting. Did you see other people doing that, or was that just like a natural instinct to?
I saw the beautiful sky. It was me in the sky and my body in the water, just having a moment. And I just kept. You know what? I there was two things I was saying. One was sorry, I'm in your way, and two was don't give up. You're going to finish this.
Yeah.
So I did. Yeah. Once I saw the flag where you exit out of the water, I was like, all right. Got the hardest thing done first. Now let's go and race. Got on the bike and got it done. You know what I mean? So yeah. So
I guess that's the interesting thing about triathlons, right? It's, I assume everyone knows who's listening that it's broken up into 3 categories: swimming, running, biking. Not in that order. But
swim, bike, and run.
There we go. But you were able to, so maybe because you went on your back, I assume you lost a significant amount of time for you during the swim. But you're able to make up for that and energy. But you're able to make up for that in the other areas, like biking and running. You're very strong in.
Right. Yeah. So that's exactly it. I was able to make up for it. But like at the time, I wasn't racing to compete in it.
Right. Yeah.
I was racing to just complete it.
Just get it done.
Get it done. Right. I was there to kind of get my feet wet, see what it was all about, where I needed to improve. And it was so much fun. Going through that struggle. And like I have a good bike and yes, I have a good run. But for me at the end of the day, it was just like, I love learning new things. And it was just one of those things that I just did it. Right. So now, looking at where I'm at with the Ironman race and Gravenhurst, the Olympic one, like I'm now competing in it. Like I did a really good job in my age category. I came 7th out of 31 athletes. And, it just goes to show me that I have potential, right? And so now I'm going to really focus in on that potential, build on it, and hopefully make podium one day. And not make podium to win prizes. I don't give a fuck about prizes. Right. And part of my language is anybody that's listening to this, but like I'm being dead serious. I don't give a shit about money and stuff like that. For me, it's personal achievement, being like, what? If I could put myself on a podium, I could literally achieve anything that I put my mind to. And it's just reassurance. It's building that reassurance that anything is achievable when you put hard work and drive into whatever it might be that you are trying to achieve. And, I go through roller coasters where I have self-doubt. I can self-sabotage. It's one of those things that I need that reassurance so I can stay on track. And that's another reason why I do these races.
All right. So for the triathlon nerds out there, talk to me about your last two. So you just had 2 races in basically the last month.
Yeah.
And one of the things you were most stoked about, especially for the one where I was with you during the first one, when you crossed that finish line, you were so happy that you beat the time that you set for yourself. Yeah. So give us the times, if you can remember them, or at least your finish times for the last 2 races, and break down what those races were. One was a half Ironman.
Right. So first one was a Muskoka Half Ironman that happened 3 weeks ago now. So like I said, I started in the front corral for the swim, and that time range was between 30 minutes and 40 minutes. And my mental goal was that, I would like to complete the swim in under 40 minutes. So I ended up completing the swim in 38 minutes and 55 seconds. Like I was just blown away. And also that was the first time I've ever swam open water, 1900 meters. Yeah. Wow. So that for me, huge achievement. Felt good, felt strong. So the swim was phenomenal. And then moving forward onto the bike, I did 35 or 34.6 kilometers per hour. That right there shocked me. Like
in a thunderstorm with moments of hail.
Yeah, right. Like it was a very
crazy,
eventful bike ride, and I loved every moment of it though. And there's just nothing against other athletes, but for me, just seeing myself go by somebody means I'm putting in hard work, right? And it's not that they are not putting in hard work. I'm sure they're doing their level of hard work, but I'm also just seeing how hard can I work, right? And so doing the bike in 2 hours and I think 34 minutes, that was also achievement. I wanted to complete the bike in under 3 hours, and I did that. And then moving forward to the run, for me was a nutrition thing. I ended up having leg cramps as soon as I got off the bike, and that's okay. I got it done. I didn't do it at the speed I wanted to complete it at. I was close to the goal of completing it under 5 hours. So
talk real quick. I mean, obviously we don't know the exact scientific reason as to why you got those cramps, but you have a bit of a theory, right?
Yeah, so it was definitely my sodium levels, 100%.
Right.
Like I think that I didn't prepare well for the level of sweating or how much I was going to be burning off, sodium, stuff like that. So you know what? It's just one of those things that I learned from, and I took to the next race that I had a phenomenal race. So for example,
it's also something, sorry to interrupt you. It's also, it's fair to point out that during your bike, it was essentially cold thunderstorming and hailing. And then literally when you made your transition from bike to run, the weather decided like, oh, we're done raining and we're going to crank the heat to like a humidex of like 40 degrees Celsius plus. Like it was so hot that as a spectator, I was like dying for shade, just standing there. So you went from one extreme to the other. And that's hard to plan for. You don't know what's going to happen.
No, and you know, like I said, I didn't plan for my sodium levels to drop.
Right.
I didn't think that I was going to have an issue coming off the bike. It was just something I was not aware of. But I'm happy that, you know, like I still achieved my goals. I still had a phenomenal race. I'm still extremely
What was your run
happy. My run time was an hour and 55 minutes, and I was actually going to go for an hour and 45 or less, but it just wasn't happening, and that's okay. I got to run, I think, 12K, or sorry, I got a cramp 12K in, like dead stop cramp. My leg locked up, and I just said to myself, I've been here before. Just keep moving forward. And as I kept moving forward, the cramp slowly went away. And I started running again. And it was just one of those things that, you know what, it could have made me or it could have broke me. And I was like, you are not going to break me. I put too much damn time training for this race to give up now. I am so close to the finish line, right?
How many minutes or how long of a distance do you think you actually walked for?
Not even a kilometer, probably like 100 meters, 50 meters, give or take. Yeah. Once it started to like disappear, I just started to move a little bit faster and faster, and then I started running again. So what did it just naturally, the cramp just started to go away? Did you do the hands above the head? Were you massaging it? Like, I just limped.
Really?
Yeah, I just kept on moving forward, man. Honestly, it's one of those things that you just got to keep the body moving, because if I did a dead stop, what else could have potentially cramped? Right. I was close to an aid station. I took more water. I took more Gatorade, and I have to give a shout out to the young man that came running after me after I went by the aid station, but he gave me some pretzels. So shout out to whoever that young little guy was. That was so nice of him. And he's like, hey man, here's some pretzels. Good luck. And you know what? That was a morale booster for me too. Right. Like
absolutely.
Just you know, like this the volunteers out there and how much they cared about all the athletes and stuff like that. You know, like that was very fulfilling, and I was extremely grateful for that. So, so moving forward.
What was your final time? You wanted sub 6 hours. Did you get it?
Yeah, I got it. But I wanted sub 5. I knew I was good. I was capable of getting sub 5. So, I was being generous to myself, sub 6. But when I kind of put all the numbers together of how well my potential was for the swim, bike, and run, that was under 5 hours. But that's okay. Next year, I could try again, right? So I ended up getting 5 hours, 14 minutes, and 30 seconds. So you know what? Easy.
Close.
Easy.
Close. Yeah.
So moving forward into Gravenhurst, which was a Olympic distance. So now that's 1,500 meter swim, 40K bike, and a 10K run.
So significantly less than the race you just did.
Yeah, the swim was a little bit less than the half Ironman, but still a long swim, right? So did the swim well. I was 2 seconds slower, I think, which honestly 2 seconds is not that big of a deal.
Oh, interesting. Over a 400 meter difference, right? 1900 in the half Ironman.
300 meter difference. Yeah. But you know what? Yeah, it's all good. No worries. Like, honestly, it's like 2 seconds, not a big deal to me. I still had a great swim. I felt good. And then on the bike is where I really was able to ramp it up. I didn't go as fast as I wanted to. I had one person pass me, but I actually stayed with this kid for about 90% of the actual bike course. And then he took off, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to go through what I went through Ironman Muskoka, so I just stuck to my plan personally. It was faster, but because it was a shorter distance, I knew that, you know, going a little bit faster here, I wasn't going to burn any matches. So I ended up doing that at a 37 kilometers per hour speed, and I was like, you know what, this is good. I'm healthy with this. Let's just try it out, see how you feel. Because I wanted to get on the run and not experience the same thing I did at Ironman, at the half Ironman. Did the bike in an hour and 5 minutes, 40 kilometers, and then got onto the run. And I knew right away, Jason, that my legs were there. They were there to be there.
You had your wheels on.
My wheels are good to go, man. Like, honestly, and it came down to the preparation the night before, hands down.
Okay.
Yeah, like, you know, Aaron and I stayed on top of our food. We stayed on top of our water. Like, that was a big thing that I felt like I lacked going into the other race. So, you know, staying on top of hydration, salt level,
your fuel.
Hot my fuel. Yeah. So once we got onto the run, man, I was able to do a 4:30 pace on the run, and I felt like I could have kept going once I was done that run at the Gravenhurst Half Ironman. Mind you, Gravenhurst Olympic or triathlon. So mind you, there wasn't as many hills. There were still hills.
That's right.
But you know what? I feel just because everything was more on point, I would have been able to perform better.
You also had great weather the whole race.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
Which I can only
19 degrees
for someone who barely runs. I can't imagine running in the rain. Like, that just seems like a version of hell.
No, man. I embrace the weather, dude.
I know you do. You got that willpower, man.
Oh, I just love it. It's refreshing. You know what I mean? It's refreshing, right? When you
if you say so.
Always fun and positive.
Listen, we're nearing kind of the hour mark to this podcast.
Yep.
It's flown by for me. Mm-hmm. Listen, what's some advice that you can give people who are in the shift work world and still trying to stay fit? Like, if someone can walk away with one piece of advice to keep them motivated, to make life easier, whether it's with their shift work, whether it's with their training, spit some truth right now.
All right. So I'm going to give a little bit more than one. For
your podcast,
it's my damn podcast. You guys are gonna get more than one. Damn it. So definitely being prepared. Come up with some sort of schedule, routine, something that you can look at, something you could reference to, that, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and use that reference or schedule, routine, whatever it may be, as a way for you to kind of come back to, make adjustments along the way. If you know that when you're at your job and you're feeling lack of energy, okay, maybe you need to have a little bit more food, or you need to work on having better sleep. That was the biggest thing for me, was having a plan before I started my actual job, where, you know, I sat down and I came up with, you know, what was going to be the things that are going to allow me to excel. Second is having some support, right? So when it came down to my fitness, was, you know, I had the gym, I was working out there. Yes, I wasn't paying for a membership specifically, but I just had the luxury of that support that allowed me to stay motivated to go to the gym and work out, and then setting my eyes on bigger opportunities that allowed me to also keep myself accountable. It was like I did the 30K around the Bay race that happens here in Hamilton, Ontario. My job offers a free ticket for that as long as you fundraise. So that was where the ball kind of started rolling for me. I did that. I saw the enjoyment in it. I was like, okay, what can I do next? So I kept on putting carrots out in front of me that I was constantly chasing, and races was that thing to keep me accountable. The third thing with that is having a program, having some sort of structured workout program, or a coach or a personal trainer or a gym membership that you can lean on to guide you, because you could wake up every day and be like, what the am I going to do today? I don't know. And then usually the thing is, you're going to cancel that out, be like, I don't know what to do, and then you're not going to do anything. So I think having a coach, having a program, something that you can use as a way to give you a sense of progression is so important. And I could honestly say, if I didn't have a coach, I would not be where I am today with my athleticism and performance. So investing into that, you have to put money on the line to see returns in your self, your personal investment, your body, your health, your mental well-being, right? So if you aren't putting money into it, then you don't care about it. There are some people that are self-driven and motivated that don't need to invest into coaching, and you could go to YouTube or whatever, and you could do the stuff at home, right? Which also leads me into convenience, right? I have a home gym. I have a smart trainer that I use for my cycling through Zwift, and then I have a treadmill, and I have a whole workout area down in my basement. Like I set myself up for success. So also creating the environment around you that is going to allow you to be successful. If you don't have the proper environment around you that is constantly a reminder that you have these tools here, use them, then you're never going to be thinking about, okay, my health, my fitness, right? So making sure that you are surrounding yourself around people that, are conscious about their health and fitness, but also setting the environment around you to be also about your health and fitness, right? So, there's multiple things that you guys can take away from this that will allow you to be successful. And the biggest thing is, like I said, environment and having a plan, I feel are the most important out of that. So, invest.
That sounds like just good life advice.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a shift worker to have these things in place, right? It's all about general health, and find those people that are doing the things you want to do. You may not do it at their level, but you'll get there eventually. And just know that, it's going to be hard at the very beginning. And the worst thing you could do is give up because it's not going your way right away. There's many swimming sessions I've done that, I just couldn't breathe right. I couldn't move right. Yeah. I couldn't stay on the water, right? And I might have done 10, 15 minutes. And then I said, you know what? I have to kind of take a step back. But I came back the next day and I did 20 minutes. You know what I mean? So it's just, you just got to keep showing back up. It's going to be hard. There's going to be days that you're not going to want to stay in that mindset where you need to focus on your health and fitness, but every time you just do a little bit, you're going to see that long-term return.
Love it. Well, I want to thank you for being a guest on the Shift Work Athlete podcast.
Thank you.
We will return to our normal programming next week with Spencer as the host, me behind the scenes, and a brand new guest for everyone to listen to, learn from, get inspired by. But before we leave, tell people where they can find us. We have a podcast, we have a YouTube channel.
We got so much going on. All right, so Instagram, you can find us at The Shift Work Athlete. What else we got going? Facebook, TikTok, all underneath the same handles, The Shift Work Athlete. We do have some exciting news that last night we came down to a final decision on our logo. Yes. And Jason, with his magic hands and his skill and technique, that we have.
We landed on a logo.
Everyone. We landed on a logo. Yeah, we landed on a logo. So
for what?
For Shift Co. Shift Co.
And what's Shift Co?
So SHFT Co. All right. So you can follow us on Instagram at Shift_Co. Okay, yes. So same thing, SHFT_Co on Instagram. We're starting there first. If you guys are interested in what we have going on and you want to see the product that we are coming out with, we're going to be starting off with hats and sweaters. It is starting to get cold out. Yeah. So if you're interested in that,
it's a merch company, everyone.
Yeah, it's a merch company.
We're selling clothes.
Yes, exactly. So if you guys want to support the channel, the proceeds are going to help us to invest into more podcast technology, who knows what else, and just really grow this business into something that you guys could all rely on as a source of information for working out, nutrition, lifestyle, etc. And also build this community to represent that you're not in this alone. And if you're trying to change your life when it comes on your health and fitness, there's people there that are also on the same page and you could represent. You know what I mean? And we would love that. We'd really appreciate that. So, those of you that are listening to this podcast, thank you for taking time out of your day to hear what we have going on. And then also, Jason, I want to say a big thank you to you for joining our team and everything that you have done so far. Honestly, Jason has been a huge contributor in the short period of time of him being here. He helps me stay motivated and driven and allow me to think outside the box because I have my way of thinking of things, which is in a very small, uneducated way because I don't know everything about this industry. I don't know how social media all works. I'm am just a sponge at the moment trying to take this all in. So it is a little overwhelming, and Jason allows me to stay on track and focused, right? So I
am the reason there's not 22 podcasts being put out. By
right. I have so many ideas, and we'll get to all of them. We'll get to all of them one day. So once again, Jason, thank you so much for joining Aaron and I with the YouTube and the podcast, and I'm so excited to see what we grow out of this. So guys. So Jason, where can people find you, bro?
You can find me literally nowhere. I am a social media manager and marketer, and I create content for social media, but I am not on social media. I'm happy being behind the scenes, so you can find me everywhere Spencer just mentioned. And I guess you will see my handiwork here and there with video editing, video production, the new merch company. So look, everyone, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for taking time out of your day, out of your shift work to listen to this little podcast at the moment. But because of you, we are growing. Because of you, we get to watch our subscriber count go up. Yes. And we're very, very thankful for everyone that listens. So tell your friends, tell your parents, tell your coworkers. We're here to help.
Tell them all. All right, guys. Peace out.